There's mud between my toes and freckles on my face. There's blisters on my feet. And I keep dancing, oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing together. Oh, we're dancing, dancing, dancing in Africa. Hey. Okay, so this is little Buttercup. She was about 3 weeks when she came to me. Look at that face. So cute. And she is going to a new home. So I foster for our local, like a pet organization called Pet Pals. Oh my darling, come here. And yes, I work with the neonatal kittens. So this little one and her brother came to me. They were about 3 weeks old. And their mom was very thin, and also the area where they were, that mom had 4 litters of kittens in that town in a year basically, and somebody kept on poisoning the kittens. So we decided to actually bring them into my house, hand rear them from there onwards, and make sure that they are safe, and then find them proper homes. We are looking into catching the mom and to neuter her and then to release her. So I hope that will work. And yes, oh, she's so cute. So yeah, it's a year since I last recorded, and let's start from the beginning. My name is Katinka. I'm going under the name Aknitak Create on Instagram. No, it's not a toy. Or Aknitak 1 Katinka. And then my cats have an account, and the foster kittens have an account called Pinky Cat. So yeah, it's been a year since I've last recorded. Basically, I think I can't remember exactly when. It was also around this time. And the reason why I've been a bit absent was I was not sure I wanted to do this anymore. Not from, I think I actually mentioned it the last time, but not from a perspective of, oh, I hate doing it. It was just, I really struggle with the internet uploading, and I really struggle with editing. I think everybody struggles with that. And I just got to a place where I felt like there's so many knitting podcasts, and why should I come and do add my little 2 cents, you know, it's like everybody's got a knitting podcast lately. And then I thought about it, and the thing is, yes, I speak about knitting, but for me this is more than just about knitting. It's about chatting to people who's like-minded, and it's also a place almost like a history of who I am and where I come from. And I feel like sometimes I used to, or like let's rephrase, I used to have a diary, and I still do diary sometimes, but this is like my knitting diary, or my crafting diary, or my creative diary. I don't want to say crafting. I feel like it's a big thing with crafting. It's almost like a, yeah, I think it diminished the work. It's a word that almost diminished what we do. Because yes, you are crafting, and yes, you are making stuff, and I understand that whole thing of where the word craft comes from, but the modern day connotation is, oh, she's just another crafter, and I feel that is degrading, because you don't say, oh, that's just another lawyer, you know. So I feel we need to change the term into being more creative. It's another creative or another creator. And yeah, so that's just my little rant, even before I started properly. So yes, I know every podcaster always has some tea or some coffee. I think it started out because you want to drink something while you're busy, and then it just goes from there. So today I'm drinking rooibos. I love rooibos. It's a South African drink with, ow, no, that's my toe, my darling. With rooibos and ginger, and I can't remember the other thing. I'll put a photo of it in. And then I added some pomegranate seeds, which I didn't squash, and it gives it a nice, almost a bitter taste. So usually I like coffee, but this morning at 5 o'clock I actually spoke to a few of my friends, and they came here, and we had the nicest prayer session. Come here, come here, come here, don't chew my toes. So yes, I had a few friends arriving at 5 this morning, and we had a nice session of just reading our Bibles and praying, and you know, for each other and for the world and everything that's going on. So it was really special this morning. So after that, I'm coffeeed out. I can't drink so much coffee anymore. I think as you get older, it gets to a point where coffee is still amazing and the right type of coffees are awesome, but you just can't. So let me start. So the last time I spoke to you was, like I said, almost a year ago, or it must have been a year ago. And what has happened since then? So one of the things that I did put in place is I've changed my way of thinking about things. So I used to have this attitude of, oh, I don't know, I don't feel so great, oh, life is hard. But the thing is, what I'm realizing is, if I think like that all the time, that's my reality. And by changing and saying, I don't particularly feel like sewing at the moment, but I'm really thankful for having the work at the moment. Or, I have to go to work. Change it to, I'm so thankful that I have a job that I can go to. And since I've started doing that, it's really changed a lot of understanding in myself and also the way I go with life, you know, and handle life. So it's been quite a journey and it's been exciting. So one of the things that I did do also was, no, that's a good girl. So with kittens, you have to train them. People think, oh, it's a kitten and it's fine, but come here. Kittens are like little dogs. You can train them. So this one is being trained not to be hard when she plays, because some kittens can really tear you to pieces. She's actually really gentle. Because then, you know, in nature, the mom will actually roll them if they are hard. She will bite them, and then they will calm down. She's so gentle. Yes. So you have to train your kittens, and a lot of people don't understand it. So yes, we are just working on the whole thing of you cannot chew my toes, and you cannot attack certain things if I say no. So they respond very good to clicking. And it just takes them their attention away for that moment, and then they can keep on playing. So one of the things that I did start doing, sorry, it's going to be up and down today. I'm training a kitten. Not training my dragon, I'm training my kitten. So I changed the way I thought about stuff. Then the next thing is, I realized that I need to take control of my finances. So by taking control of your finances, it releases up a mindset almost. Because up until now, I had that thing of, oh, money is actually difficult to work with, and I'm never going to be rich, and I'm never going to have lots of money, and you know, I don't know about you, but that's been my thought process for so long. And then when I realized that, I realized, but wait a second, if I have that thought process, then I can't work with money. And then I looked at my finances, and I really can't work with money. I've been, you know, I want it, and I want it now, and then I buy it, and then you said afterwards, and you think, maybe I didn't want that. So it really put me on this journey of what is important. So one of the things that I realized that's important to me is I love clothes. I've always loved clothes. I make clothes for people. I design clothes, and I create ranges, and I do all these things. But it can become an obsession. And so I realized by November last year that my cupboards were so full, and not a lot of new things, but it was full of stuff that I didn't really wear. Firstly, sometimes it was because of the synthetic content of the materials, or it was I was too fat for it, or too thin for it, or whatever reason. So in November I sat down and I worked through my whole wardrobe. I threw out maybe about 60%. Not threw it out. I made it into piles for people that I knew would love certain things. And then I would phone my friends and say, listen, I'm sorting out my wardrobe. Would you like to have a look? And it was so amazing. A lot of my friends, the ones that I phoned and the ones that I collected the stuff for, they were so thankful. And the one actually, she said to me, you know, it's like having a new wardrobe. And it is, because now she's got all these lovely things that she loves to wear. And I was not wearing them. I was wearing them because I thought, I know, it sounds funny, but I always feel like the clothes that's not getting worn feel like they're left out. So I make a point of wearing all the stuff in my cupboard. But some things I didn't feel well in, or it didn't fit well, or for whatever. So I'm down to about 40% of what I used to have. And I've decided for this year, I'm not buying anything. If I want anything, I have to make it. Or I can alter it. Or I can upgrade it. Oh, she's chewing my plant. Hey, that's a good girl. or I have to upgrade it. So the first thing that I did was I realized that I needed jerseys. So I've got a lot of bought knit jerseys. Not a lot because we live in Africa at the coast. It's never really that cold. I mean, if I'm lucky, I love cold. I love winter. It's my favorite time of the year. But if I'm lucky, we might have like, let me think, maybe about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not that cold. And all I want to do is wear hats and jerseys and scarves and all those things. But it does get a bit cold. So, and when the wind's blowing, it's sometimes really cold. So I sat down and I realized I want some hand knitted jerseys. I don't particularly like all the bought ones because a lot of them have a lot of synthetic material in it. And I have them, but they slowly are being, I've had them for years, and some of them are torn, and some of them are just beyond repair, and some of them really, it's not my style or the type of material that I want to wear on my skin. So yes, I know I go on about synthetics and non-synthetics, but for me it's about, I've got textile intolerance really badly, and I used to get eczema. That's been quite a lot better. I'll speak about that in another episode. But for that reason, I have to be very careful what I wear. And so I realized I didn't want synthetic jerseys or cardigans or whatever the rest of the world call it. We call it jerseys. A jersey is a jersey is a jersey, and sometimes you'll call it a cardigan because we now, we're not as backwards anymore. So we now are catching up with all the international terms. So I had a lot of things on my needles. So part of the thing that sorted my skin out, also sorted my arthritis out. I got some supplements and stuff. And so I had this little bamboo jersey on my needles for about 5 years. And I couldn't finish it because the bamboo is hard to knit. And it was really hard on my wrist and I just couldn't finish it. So I finally finished it. It's just plain ribbing on the top. Not ribbing. What do you call that? No. One, right? Pearl and plain. And then I just did that in stocking knit. And I just worked the pattern out. And I love this, especially with a pair of nice pants. So I've kept my linen. I've got some linen pants that I've had for like 10 years. So all my clothes in my cupboard that I kept, I've had for a long time. Some of it was given to me, but most of it was stuff I've had or that friends threw out and I altered it. So this, I have a pair of linen pants that I made for my first range for a boutique. And I kept a pair for myself. And this pair of pants, I always look for something to wear with it. Because, I'm not this shirt, the like button-up shirt. I like loose things. And I like things that's flowy. And this just looks so nice together. I'll see if I can insert a photo. So I finished that. Then a friend of mine gave me a lamb's wool jersey from a local, quite upmarket shop called Woolworths. Oh, in my terms, it's upmarket. I don't know. Some people think it's not. But anyway, for me, it's a nice shop. You buy good quality stuff there. But it had moth holes, quite a lot. And it was just a plain, like quite a high neck, shoulders here, and then long sleeves. It was a men's jersey. And so I fixed the holes. I think there's one. Can you see? Just find it quickly. So there was quite a few moth holes on the. Oh, there you can see it. Okay. So there. So I've just darned it, and then there was a lot of holes on the top. So I picked the top, and then I picked it up, and then I found this drops pattern. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put the name on it. And I just used the double yarn. I actually went double with it because it's so thin, and I just knitted the top. And because I made the lamb's wool double here, this was wool from a local dyer called Karumu, and I love her stuff. This is silk mohair and silk angora mohair and mohair is angora, silk mohair and merino. And once she sometimes have like little balls of wool, really tiny balls of wool, and I just spit and wrap it together. Calm down. And so I made them all the colors together because there were like lots of these little balls, and I just put them all together. And then I had enough to actually do this. And I love this jersey. It is just so comfy. So I did this because I wanted something that I can walk on the beach with. Because, you know, you get those noisy jackets, and I really hate them. I think it's called a windbreaker. I think it's a windbreaker. We call them dry mags here. And I don't like them. I don't like the sound. I don't like the feel. I just don't like them. So I wanted something that I could go to the beach, because it's always like damp on the beach, you know. But it still will keep me dry, but it's comfy and it's warm. And I find with wool can absorb about 30% of its weight in water before it starts feeling wet. So this is perfect. As long as it's not pouring with rain, even if it's drizzling, I stay really nice and dry with this. So I've been wearing this a lot, even though we're only now going into autumn. Hopefully by the end of this month it will start getting really cold. I had a cold spell last week, which I was so excited about. I wore so many jerseys. It's like non-stop in my one jersey. So yes, that was exciting. I've done this. And then the next thing I finished last year, end of 2017. My friend Sharon, her Instagram name is Sharon from Sharon Shabby Shack, and she sent me some yarn, Platen's yarn. So what I started doing is I just make like little notes in this book of what I'm knitting, and then I put photos and yarn samples and stuff. And it's just helping quite a lot with knowing, oh yes, I did this and I did that, and so on. Okay, so the Career Moon was 20% mohair, 20% mohair, 20% alpaca, and 60% wool. And it's Career Moon. That's the label. And that was the thing off the jersey. Yeah, so that was fun. And I still need to put the picture in of the pattern in from what I made. So then for this, she sent me some Paton's classic wool worsted weight, and there was 4 balls, and I thought it would be enough because I started and I realized I could go quite far, but I knew I was playing yarn chicken. And then I had some of my hand spun, the cream. And so this is the Rock by Junko Okamoto, and I just love this pattern. So I think hers is in heavyweight wool, but I wanted to make it in worsted because it's not so hot here, so cold here. So you kind of have to compromise sometimes. But I've been wearing this a lot last week because it was really quite cold, and wind and rain, and my favorite things in the whole world. So I've been wearing that, and then I realized that the neck was actually really high in the front, and it was okay at the back, but it was just really irritating me. So, but what I did to finish it in the end, my friend, so that was in 2017, and then 2018 I did the call with Michelle from my so-called Handmade Life. They did a Junko Okamoto call, and I costed this on. So then I couldn't finish it. I got the body to there, but it wasn't this wide. It was also quite slim fitting, and I wanted a big loose jersey. So my friend went to Canada in January, and then I ordered online, and they delivered it to her, and she brought it back. I was very thankful about that. And I had to alternate because it was not the same dye lot. I don't think you can see really, because I literally made it like every second row was was the previous one. And then I just added this in the bottom. It's not on the pattern like that, but I liked it. It's longer in the back than in the front, and it's one size fits all. But in the end, I did read the pattern to here when I started, but it was just a bit too narrow. So I unpicked it to there, and then I forgot to add in another those triangles at the top, but that's just one of those things. And then I just increased some stitches on there, so to make the body a bit bigger. And now I love it. I can see myself wearing this a lot in winter. I just love it. So another thing that I finished was also with Michelle from my so-called Handmade Life. She had a winged cowl where you had to come up with your own pattern, or you could change something on a pattern. Sorry, my eyes are itchy. I think from the wool, or the dust, or the cat, or anything can happen. And so I had this owl sock wool. Let me just find the name. This color. So owl is like a South African wool producer, and they discontinued it. So it's the owl sock wool berry fudge. I think it's such a nice name, berry fudge. And I only had one skein, one ball of wool, and that is how many grams? 25, 50 grams. So it was just not enough. So I don't know if you can see, but originally I knitted that pair that actually entered into the curl. And the foot was a bit short. That part was too short. And then also this part, I didn't like it so short. I wanted it longer. So what I did is I had some Angora mohair wool, and then I spun some normal merino wool, and I applied the two together, and I've used that to do the heel. It doesn't look that pretty, but it's comfy. And this is a sock blocker my friend's husband made me out of plywood. And it was so strange. This ball had this piece of white in the middle, like on the end, and so I've just added it in different places on the sock so that it doesn't look funny. But because of that, I could actually do the heel in the end. So I'm very happy about that. So yes, I've got some socks, and I will be knitting some more. We struggled to find sock wool in South Africa. Kurumu now started actually having some, which I'm really happy about. And now you can sometimes order it online, but yeah, it's not so easy to get hold of. I do have about 2, 3, 4 more balls of sock, 4 balls, lots of sock wool that I can actually do socks with. And then my friend who lives in America, her mom was there for her baby's birth, and she brought me back some sock wool. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to get it from her, and I'm quite excited. Because, yeah, I've knitted some socks in my life, but it's never been a thing because, you know, we live in South Africa. It's hot. But I actually really love my hand-knitted socks. The other thing is, by throwing out everything in my wardrobe that didn't fit or was not comfy, my underwear was in a state. So my panties was just unbelievable. The ones that were synthetic I threw out. And then they changed some of the patterns. So things that would fit me previously now doesn't fit me. Or they're too big, or they're too small, or they pull up, you know, whatever. So I got fed up. So I sat down the other day and I made myself some underwear. Hello. I know. Are you tired now? Ooh, you heard something there. You're going to catch it. So I had some cut out, and then I cut a few more out. And this was made out of scraps. Oh, yeah. I quite like them. I know you're not supposed to show your panties online, but I'm doing it. So this is another pair I made. And I'm really liking them. I think they're so comfy. And that, you know what? I hate it when the elastic climbs up wherever it doesn't belong. And this doesn't do it. So I'm very excited about that. So the other thing what I've been doing is I've got a lot of clothes that I really love. Like this dress that I've got on. But my friend who was here this morning, she said to me, I'm not allowed to wear this dress anymore out. It's my house dress now because it's so faded. Just get the material quickly. Hey, material in the beginning. It was a tablecloth. She had this tablecloth and I loved it from day one. And she turned it into, she cut it up and made a cushion. And then she had like 2 or 3 more, and she gave me one, and I turned it into this dress, which I love. I wear it all the time. I love this dress so much that I had to make myself another one. And I've got photos of it. I'll insert the photos. So it's like this. But this one I lined with cotton, like that's a normal, almost like a calico. And I've worn it so much that it literally was falling to pieces. All the lining was like tearing away from the seams because it's just been worn so much. So I was afraid this material would do the same. This is actually material from another friend's curtains from the 1980s. And she asked me to make blinds for her. And then I said, oh sorry, I'm coming. There's a kitten attacking my leg. I said, I'll make the blinds if I can have the leftover material to make myself a dress. So that was because I hate making blinds. And so it was a fair trade. I got a dress and she got some blinds. So I've been wearing it so much that literally I was afraid that the seams where I stitch it, well, it will actually come loose on there. But the material is still very good quality. I mean, it was curtains in her house for like 10 or 15 years. And then I cut it up. I've been wearing this dress, I think for 4 or 5 years, literally every week. At least every week. At least once a week. And so I unpicked it. And I cut some more out of cotton this time, not just out of calico. Out of cotton, I cut another lining. And I'm busy putting it all together again. Now, I did paint in this dress, so there's some paint on the skirt part, but I'll see what I do. I'll most likely do some creative thing on there. But now, because I was unpicking this, I thought, you know, let me just cut another one like this. Because I love this dress that I have on so much. So this is just the Boor jersey from, I didn't tell you about this one. It's just from Old Khaki. Yes. So yes, I'm busy making another dress. This is the material. And I've decided this time, this one that I have on is knee length. I've decided this time I'm going to do it in a long one. I want it to my ankles. And then in the beginning, I don't know if you saw, no, you should have seen it because I'm going to put it in the beginning. Ow, it's my toe, my darling. That white dress is also something I'm making for my wardrobe. So what I did is I sat down and I realized I needed jerseys and I needed some dresses because I love wearing dresses. I could wear a dress every day. And you know, when I lost my hair, I got to a place where I didn't feel feminine, and I thought, you know, I always had this feeling, this idea of if you have dresses on, you have to have long flowy hair, you know, plait or curly, you know, because I had curly hair. And so I stopped wearing dresses and I stopped being feminine. Sorry, I just want to pick my leg up because I felt like, you know, if I don't have hair, then I'm not feminine. So I've changed that attitude in the meantime, and now I wear my dresses. I love dresses, so that's mostly what I wear. But I needed more dresses, so I've been cutting out new ones and making them. Not a lot. I will make a few because also my attitude is if I want something new, I have to throw something out or give it away. So I have given away a lot of my dresses that I didn't wear or that didn't fit nicely or it's not my style. And so there is space in my wardrobe for a few new dresses. So this one, it was actually just like a straight down slip dress with pockets. And I don't like straight down. I like girly dresses. And I like gathers or pleats or anything. So what I did is I cut it off right there in the middle. And then I cut it in the middle there. And then I gathered it. But I added in some light grey to make it wider. So it's still the same. It's still got no seam on the sides. I don't know if you can see. And just the pockets I kept. But it's got the gathers in the front. And then it gives it a nice line like this. But my bedroom, I've got a sliding door. And it's got, you know, the sliding door's got those hooks that goes over the door to hold it. And at one stage, there was a table that was kind of in my way. You hooking me. And so I hooked on it. A few of my dresses actually got almost ruined because of that. So this one had some tears in it, in the middle. And so I'm busy, I unpicked it. I'm going to put the part that's torn, going to give it a seam, cut the torn part out. Luckily it's very wide, so I can lose some of the wideness. Come sit there. That's a good girl. Sit there, sleep down. And so, oh, you're so cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the front part that was torn in the back with a seam where the tear was. And then I'm just going to bring the back part to the front. So that's why I've unpicked this dress, so I can actually fix it. So I'm busy working through my clothes also to fix what I can't, what's broken and stuff like that. And darn stuff and just getting it, you know, more wearable and making it smaller or bigger or whatever I need to do. So the other thing I identified was that I needed some cardigans. I don't have enough cardigans. Actually, I have some, but they're all bought, you know, and I'm busy replacing them. So I had an olive green cardigan and I loved it. It was thin wool, but not wool, yarn. But it was, yeah, it was quite cheap and started looking cheap. And then I, also on that stupid thing in my bedroom, that sliding door, I hooked it and I tore a big hole in it. And with that thin yarn, it's too difficult to actually darn it. So I just gave it away. I threw it out actually. So what I did is, my friend's mom had a knitting machine. It is ancient. It's like the little girl, ladies on it, it's 1950s. So it's very simple. I'll insert a little video of me knitting. So this is fingering single ply merino, also from Guru Marine, and she dyed it. I think she dyed it this color, or it was this color. But we did a trade. So she said I could get some yarn, and I'm busy some hand woven materials that I'm busy turning into a jacket for her. So we traded, and I got this. So I love it, but to knit it would take forever. I started knitting it, but I need the jersey now for winter. So what I've decided is I can do the stocking knit because I don't want it too intricate. I can do the stocking knit. Ow, ow, ow. No, 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 no. That's my toe. Just wait. Let me just calm her down. Hey, calm down. Calm down. Come on. There you go. I can do the stocking knit on the machine and then pick up the stitches and do the intricate part for the rest. So I wanted a big bind the big ribbing, which I did, and then I did like little cables on the ribbing. I don't know if you can see. Can you see? Yes, there you can see it. Sorry. So the ribbings I've been knitting by hand, and got the front and the back done. It's still faster than hand knitting, but it is a slow process, because you know you have to like put you move the needles, then you put the yarn, then you close the needles, then and then you bring your little machine over, hold the knitted part because it will come off, and then you go again. So it takes time to actually knit one. It takes me about a day to do one. Ow, that's so. To do one side. So the front and the backs are done, and the back is done, and now I'm knitting the button band, and I'm busy with the sleeves on the knitting machine, so I can show you now how it works. So I'm busy with this one, and I'm excited. I'm going to have, and what I like is it's going to replace that greenish one, because it's like a green brown. So let me just take this girl and go and put her in the bathroom, because she's actually becoming to be a nuisance, a real nuisance. Look at that face. I'm a bit of a nuisance. Sorry. She's a handful. Oh yes, so this will replace the green. It's not green, it's more brown green, but I can wear it with a lot of the things in my wardrobe. The other thing I've been busy with is my Aidez sweater. I have a problem. I struggle to stick to patterns. You see, for years, all my life, I've knitted out of my head. I would see a picture and I would just knit it. But I'm really trying to stick to a pattern. I'm not very successful. So it's Aidez by Cirilia Rose. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I just love it. So what I did is this is DK weight, and hers is bulky, and so I had to cast on extra stitches. And the back they've got the triangle. I didn't like the triangle, so I just kept on with the fishbone. And then little cables in between. So I really love it. So I just knitted the front and the back together. I wanted to knit it all together, but I've decided to seam the sleeves, so that because it's raglan, I find raglan sometimes fall off if I don't have the seaming there. And yes, it's got, you take this part and you just knit it, this part from the front, and it just goes around the neck. You knit it longer a piece and then you just sew it up. I'm quite excited about this. Yeah, I'm slowly working on it. I need it for winter. I want it for winter, I don't need it, but I'm working on it, so I'm excited. I'm actually just trying to finish the brown jersey, because that's another thing, is I'm really trying to get the projects done, because you know, sometimes you just get so caught up, and then you do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and before you know it, you've got tons of cast-ons and nothing finished. So I've really been focusing on finishing stuff, and of making stuff that I need for my wardrobe, to make my wardrobe work. So yes, that's been my, I've done some spinning, but nothing new, nothing to write home about. And what else have I been doing? Oh, I sorted my sewing room out. I actually quite love it now. I'll put a little bit of a video in. It's a bit messy at the moment. So in my house, it's a very small cottage. It's a turn of a century, maybe older. Maybe around the Boer War, it was used as a cottage for, so after the Anglo-Boer War, a lot of people lost their farms, because literally the British came in and they literally just burned the land. I call it the scorch earth policy. So they literally burned everything to the ground, put the women in concentration camps, and the men went to war, and then afterwards they sent them off to, where was that island? St. Helena, as prisoners of war. So it literally, it just, a lot of people lost everything. Not just their farms, but because, you know, the Afrikaners have always been farmers, basically. And so after the Anglo-Boer War, it was around the turn of the century, it's almost like crippled the country. So then what happened was, a lot of the richer farmers, or the farmers who survived, or the farmers who joined the English, they would give these farmers, when they came back, they would give them a place to stand. They would work on their land, and they call it bywoners cottages. So I'm in a bywoners cottage that was turned into a little cottage, and it's not, so I added pieces on later on. So like my kitchen part and my bedroom part was the original part, and it was built out of sand and shell mixed from the beach, and so it's damp sometimes, and you can see all the things. But I love my cottage. It's just, I love it. It's not mine. I'm renting, but my landlord's very kind, and I can actually, as long as I don't do structural damage, I can basically play and do what I want. So I love it. And why am I telling you about that? So I stopped it. I went back to see what was I talking about. My cottage. My cottage is small, but because of this, the places I lived before, I always had my sewing room separate. And then I feel like I'm stuck in this place and I'm not part of my environment. So I really wanted my next place to be part of my environment. And that is why when I found this place, it was just perfect. Because this is my sitting room here. And then on that side is my cutting out table. And over there is my sewing space. And yes, there's like allocated areas, but it's not, I'm not separated from my house. And I love it. I really love the whole setup. Because, you know, also when I have visitors, I sew, I make stuff, I'm a designer, and my friends know that. And it's so nice to be able to sit and sew while they're sitting there chatting to me. And it's like my sitting room is part of my sewing room, so I just love it. So yes, I read it. I sorted out my sewing room. It was a bit cluttered and a bit full and a bit too much. So I packed a lot of things away. I made it more sturdy. But what actually put the whole process on the go was I got somebody to put up a shelf for me. And the person, at that stage, I didn't realize he was actually in Alzheimer's already. He had Alzheimer's. And so I couldn't understand. It used to work really well. And my place, it just didn't work. The shelf was really, I was sitting sewing one day and one of the books fell on my head. And that's when I realized now I need to do something. So he didn't do a good job. So I had to actually just take everything off, change the whole setup and make it so it can work for me. And I just love how it came out. So I followed all the things because my dad's my 30th birthday. I think, how old am I this year? I think I'm turning 47. Yeah, I'm turning 47 this year. So for my 30th birthday, he's saying, my darling, you're not married yet. So usually you get a trousseau, but I'm going to give you some tools. So I got a drill and I got a jigsaw and he taught me how to do stuff. So of course I can do stuff. I mean, I'm not stupid. And if you don't know how to do something, you just Google it, you know. So I did the whole thing for the shelf, and I put some like bars up to let the shelf rest on it. Somewhere I did some wrong calculations, and it didn't work. So like that night, it was Sunday, and that night I phoned my friend and I sent her this message, SOS message. I said, please, I need your husband to come and help. So the next day, the two of them were here, and they said, no, you did nothing wrong. You should have just continued, and you should have done this and this and this. So it was quite funny. But so yeah, I've done that. And my garden is also going along. I've tried to plant stuff again. I hope they will grow. We've had a really dry summer, extreme dry summer, and lots of wind. So it literally burned my plants to the ground. So I just gave up. You know, you have to be water wise, and so it was cheaper to basically buy food, buy vegetables and stuff than to grow them. But I'm trying again. Let's see if I kill the plants this time or not. So my garden's been going along. My animals, Sinatra, his leg is sore. He's got a arthritic joint in his knee, and it's really bothering him. But he's on medication, so he's got good days and bad days. The two cats are fine. Pinky is still too sweet. This morning my friend was here. My friends were here. The one friend got up to go outside, and Madam Pinky just jumped on her shoulder. My friend had such a fright, but it was so cute. So Pinky was riding around on her shoulder for about half an hour, and then she finally had enough and she got off. But while she was on her shoulder, she was nibbling her neck and purring and like holding onto her like this. It was too cute to see, because that's what she does with me, but I never saw it on somebody else. So it was really just so sweet. Bubbles is actually lying over there, just being lazy. He still keeps me up at night, but it's much better. It's because it's turning into winter, so that helps. And yes, life is just continuing as normal. I must say, since I've did an attitude adjustment, things are much easier for me. Sometimes things are actually fine until but your attitude makes that it's not fine. So that's been really good. And then, yeah, I just want to touch on something. This last year, or basically, I think at the beginning of the year, a lot of things have happened in the knitting community that really saddened me. Now, living in South Africa and dealing with what we are dealing with, we really had to fight to become a nation. And what I've learned through the years was that putting labels on things isolate people. And so it used to be, in the apartheid era, it used to be there was whites and there was blacks and there was coloreds and there was Indians, and everybody had a label and everybody had their little corners where they were supposed to be. And we were all so excited and thankful when apartheid fell and we came to a place of saying, okay, so we're going to be one nation. But then a lot of things happened, and again labels were put on people and people groups and language groups, and it isolates people. So yes, I understand there's a place of a culture and there's a place of this is me and this is my culture, but there's also a place of deciding that beside the culture there's something that knits us together. And I joined the knitting community because there was that communal thing of we all knit together. And I don't care what your color is, I don't care what your religion is, I don't care what your orientation is. It doesn't matter to me. If you knit, you're awesome. Or if you crochet. So, and that's another thing, is what I was listening and hearing was, there's so many people who's got, I know, I'm a crocheter, or oh, she's a knitter, oh, she's a spinner. And yes, there is that place of you are spinning, or you knit, or you, but there's more of that. There's appreciation of each other's creativity. And for me, that has been the big thing. It's like, some people make statements and they don't think about it. I mean, we in South Africa, I had a friend, and she made statements, and I had to say to her, you can't do that type of statements in South Africa, because we had to, after the whole thing of apartheid, and after it fell, and after we had Mr. Mandela standing up and saying we will be a nation, and if any party ever gets up again and oppress anybody, then this has been in vain. And yes, we are going through a lot of stuff at the moment, but still our dream is to become one nation. And so see all this ugliness all over the internet and all over Instagram, and it really just was so sad. So what I want to say is that, and it's a bit late maybe, and my 2 cents don't really count, but it's about understanding and appreciating each other. It's about treating everybody the way you want to be treated. And if there's a place where, because you look like you don't have money. I mean, I went into a place the other day, and yes, my clothes are old, but I like my clothes, and I'm not going to pretend to be something and so on and not. So the people didn't even look at me. I went there, I did my research beforehand because I needed the duvet cover. It was cheaper to buy it from there because I wanted per kale. And yes, it was an expensive place, but I saved up to actually go and buy the specific duvet cover. And I walked in and they actually ignored me because I didn't look like the clients. And in any situation, if that is as a business owner, the way you treat people, then it's wrong. But also, I could have thrown a tantrum and maybe the color issue, because it was a case of I was the only white person in the store. But it's not about that. I didn't look like I had the money. So maybe that's the way that maybe they get commission on their sales. Maybe they were busy with something else. I could have made a big scene and I would have been right. And the manager actually afterwards, I went and I found somebody to help me, and it was the manager, and she apologized to me for people not coming and asking if they could help me. But that was not the issue. The issue is, how do we look at situations? I know there's times when I ignore people, not because I want to be rude, it's just because my head is full of stuff. And I think there's a place where grace must come in how we treat people, how we look at people, how we behave in situations. And stand in that situation and to say, okay, wait a second. Yes, I'm feeling like this. I felt like I was invisible. I felt like the cat drew me in, because that's the way they looked at me. I felt all these emotions, but the thing was, it's not about my emotions. I did my research, I know what I want, and if they are kind to me or not kind to me, if they appreciate me or not appreciate me, if they help me or not help me, that's not the issue. I can go to the shelf, I can find what I need, and I can walk out and pay for it. And so it really just brought it home for me that in the end, I can't change anything else, but I can change how I behave in situations. I can change how I feel about situations, and that's the power that I have. And yes, I'm not going to go into depth about stuff and talk about what this one said or that one said, because it's over. But I almost want to challenge us as creatives not to, I mean, the world already are putting us in boxes with, oh, it's an artist, you know, and treating us like we I almost want to say, like we don't have everything up here, you know. Oh, shame, she's an artist, you know, or oh, it's an artist, and it brings us to a place where because of the labels and because of the boxes that everybody is placing on everybody and that we put on ourselves, that we are being isolated or that we are isolating, and it causes a lot of distraction, I think, because as a knitting community, I don't even want to be called a knitter anymore, just because of all the nastiness that was out there. And it's sad because I came to this community because I felt accepted, because for the first time I found people that actually feels about knitting and yarn and spinning and crocheting the way I feel, about creativity the way I feel. I mean, my biggest obsession was I need to do everything before I'm 10:45, because what if I die and I didn't do everything? So I want to challenge us. Let's behave in a way that will not create boundaries and will create barriers, but in a way that will be inclusive. And that goes both ways. By saying I'm a knitter and not a crocheter, I'm creating boundaries. By saying I'm an alopecia knitter, I create boundaries. And the season is, for me, is to say I'm not going to create boundaries by what I say, by how I think, because the world is in such a state, and I want to love people, and I want to include people, and I want to make them part of my life. And that was why I sat down today. It's not just because of what happened and everything, but it was a case of, here I am, I'm sitting on the sideline and I'm looking at all of this, and I'm really saddened about what's going on, but I'm not willing to put myself out there because of whatever reasons. And for that reason, I decided to sit down and to record again and to do my podcast. And yes, it's small and I'm all over the show and it's a bit irritating for some people, most likely. But I'm doing this for me. And I'm doing this for that one person, one of you are out there who really needed to have a friend today, and to have somebody who's all over the show and who knits everything, and who's passionate about the environment and doesn't want to have clothes that's actually going to, that she doesn't need. And you felt alone, and you felt like you were the only one like that. And today I almost want to say, this is for you. And yes, I can waffle on for a long time because I'm quite good at waffling, but I think I'm going to stop it here. And I just want to say, for whoever is listening to this, whoever watches this, thank you for watching it, and thank you for allowing me to share my heart, and happy knitting. Good morning. So this is my favorite dress. One of them, I've got two. So the one is, the lining was disintegrating. I made it from an old 1980s curtain from a friend of mine, and I'm giving it a new lining. And the other one was made out of a tablecloth like this. So my friend bought these tablecloths at one stage, and she made some cushions out of them, and of course I fell in love with it, so she gave me one, and I made this dress. Now it's been worn a lot. Just a normal little, I wonder if you can see, it's got darts, and then it's just got a facing, and yeah, I did the sleeves wrong at one stage, so I added a piece, because it's my own pattern, and then I just put box pleats. I love box pleats. These ones aren't very deep, so they actually look quite flattering, and yeah, it's quite wide, but I want a long version. So my friend said to me, I'm not allowed to actually keep on wearing this dress, because it is now a house dress. So she gave me another tablecloth, hence the tablecloth. So today I'm actually recutting this dress, and so this was my second one I made. That one was second one. So because of that, I changed a lot of it, not a lot, but I made it, I improved the pattern, so I know the pattern works. And now I'm cutting out my dress, but I think I love this length, but I think I want it like there. because that gives it a nice move, but that means I will have to make it a bit wider. Yeah, that's more, you know, I'm over 45, so I think I need to stop wearing teenage dresses and become more of an adult. Maybe not, but anyway, I do want a longer dress actually, just for summer, because I feel it's more flowy and whatever. So yes, that's what I'm doing today.